Let's now have the point of view of two investors. As we've heard, the Juncker plan is concentrating on developing European infrastructure, but obviously things are not going as quickly as we could hope. So what will actually motivate private investors to come into this? We have two of them. First of all, from Asset Management Allianz, Ralph ELEY, who's the director. Ralph, thank you very much for being with us today. Yes, please come onto the stage. Thank you. Peut applaudir, give him a round of applause. There we are.
I believe I've only got 3 minutes, so I'll try and keep this as short as possible. Allianz Global Investors is one of a growing number of institutional investors that has become active in the infrastructure debt area over the last 5 years. We started a business just short of 5 years ago, and we now have a portfolio of over 9 billion euros of infrastructure debt assets in the PPP sectors, regulated utility companies, renewables projects, toll roads and ports. I say this not to advertise AGI, but really to demonstrate how the sector has changed and how the institutional investor market has become increasingly important as debt funders to this market over the last 5 years. And I say we're not the only institutional active in this area. When I talk about institutional investors, I'm talking about pension funds and insurance companies. And to me, there's always a nice synergy between using pension fund money and insurance policy premium money for public good in infrastructure projects, and at the same time doing our small bit to reduce the pension deficit that we all read about and worry about on a regular basis. The institutional investor market has an appetite for long-term debt. My own portfolio ranges between 20 years and 40 years, and we very much stepped into the role where banks are now constrained by Basel II as long-term infrastructure debt players. We're comfortable with construction risk. We provide our money on a deferred drawdown basis, which means that we fund on a monthly basis as the project progresses from a construction perspective. We provided debt alongside lots of other different types of lenders, so banks, the European Investment Bank. We've also done a number of projects with the European Investment Bank, public bond, the PBCE facility, the precursor to the Juncker, which we've heard talked about a couple of times already. In terms of alternative models for infrastructure, I think a couple of important precedents worth looking at. The Thames Tideway project, which, by the way, we weren't involved in. It was the first time that the regulated utility model had been used to fund a very, very large project, a tunnel, the Thames Sewer, and also the Canadian model, where private finance is used alongside public finance, so the discipline from the private finance is used to manage the public finance investment in significant infrastructure projects. I think the key message I want to leave is that the funding markets are open and available to provide long-term funding for infrastructure, particularly new build. My own portfolio is about a third new build. We'd like to see more, but that's reflective of the number of opportunities, or the limited number of opportunities that are available in the market, not our appetite to stay away from construction. We're very much open for construction assets. I can see I've already run over. Last thing I want to say is that infrastructure never will be a market-led sector. It's not like selling phones or setting up a new restaurant. It always requires some form of government support, whether that be directly through availability payments, indirectly through regulatory support to underpin user revenues. So we're ready to fund and to work on governments for new solutions, but it's always going to be a collaborative focus because it's always government that are going to set the agenda and the priorities for infrastructure.
Thank you. Thank you.